Welcome to Moments with Marianne. I'm so delighted we're spending this time here today. We have just a phenomenal show coming right up with special guest Caeli Wolfson Widger, and she's here to talk to us about her new book, Mother of Invention. Caeli is also the author of the novel Real Happy Family, and her other work has appeared in numerous literary journals, including the New York Times Magazine, Amazon's Day One, and on NPR. So let's welcome to the show, Caeli.
Thank you so much for having me, Marianne.
Oh, what a pleasure it is to have you here. And what a fabulous book. I mean, as soon as I picked it up, I could not put it down. It's a page turner.
Thank you. That is my ultimate goal, is to keep readers engaged and invested in the characters.
Well, you did a brilliant job of that. And we're going to talk about the novel in just a little bit here, but I know our listeners, they always write in, especially on books like this, where people just can't get enough of them. It's a great summer read, where they're trying to understand, like, hey, what was even her inspiration behind writing this book?
Well, my immediate inspiration was being pregnant with my third child and working full-time and trying to parent two other small children, and being somewhat preoccupied with, A, the discomfort of pregnancy, but B, time, and how I always feel that as a working mom, I'm racing against it. So that was on my mind, and then the trigger of being sort of miserably pregnant kind of came together in this idea of a way to make pregnancy more comfortable, more efficient, faster, and then I folded in some of the other challenges of early motherhood. It all came together in a story that kind of solved a lot of the challenges that women encounter when they are pregnant and in those all-consuming days of early child's rearing.
Well, and gosh, mothers are some of the hardest working demographics out there. I mean, between raising children, having children, managing all the activities, then their careers on top of it, a lot of times it can be kind of like this daunting task.
Absolutely. I think now more than ever, women have the ability to, quote, have it all, right? It's a cliche now. But in many ways, it's, the best time to be a woman in all of history. At the same time, having those unlimited options of career and family and all sorts of, extracurriculars outside of those things is very overwhelming. And in many ways, the infrastructure that women are operating under hasn't really changed. So even though you have all these options, you're still expected to get right back to work after you have a baby. You're still expected, even if not overtly, even if you're in a partnership with, in a marriage or whatever, with parity in your domestic routine, women still end up absorbing more of the daily domestic obligations. So yes, we have all these options, but the question is, do we really want to usher in all of these options? Is it realistic to do all of those things, to do all of them well, and to still feel balance and pleasure and fulfillment in your life? So that's what I was really exploring in the book is, do we want it all?
Well, some of the reasons your book is so well received, I believe, is because of how well written it is. Because you do go into the science aspect of it, and having it kind of based in Silicon Valley, where it's kind of like the tech capital. Just about anything's possible, and you weave all that together.
Well, I was daunted by the amount of research I would have to do to make a book set in the world of reproductive technology believable to the reader. my goal is to suspend the reader's disbelief so that even though my characters are undergoing fairly outrageous scientific medical procedures, the reader has such trust in me as a writer that they just go with it. So my process was actually to write everything first. Didn't do any research about advancements in biotechnology or in reprogenetics. I just made it all up. I made up this procedure of shortening pregnancy from 9 months to 9 weeks. After I had a full draft that any actual doctor or scientist would probably, have a heart attack if they read it, I then went and did the research and read and listened to podcasts and absorbed as much as I could about what is actually going on there in terms of reproductive technology and the way we can engineer pregnancy and early child rearing. And then I sort of took my knowledge and filtered it into the book just enough to win that disbelief from the reader, but not too much to kind of get them bogged down in information.
Mm-hmm. Well, and it was really easy to see how that all came together, even though it probably wasn't easy to write, how that all was interwoven together to make such a believable story where the reader is just kind of captivated by what's happening and going, gosh, looking at this as possibilities in the future.
Right. Well, I think that no degree of plot excitement or hooks, when I first sat down to write this, I thought, oh, women are really going to gravitate toward this book because just the notion of shortening pregnancy, of converting your breast milk into formula, which is a technology in the book, of giving your baby a virtual reality device to wear so they feel they're always with you, which is another made-up technology in the book. Those were all fun hooks. But the bottom line is, if you don't have complex, believable characters for whom the reader can truly have compassion and feel invested in them, to feel that the characters' stakes are their stakes, then no amount of imagined story or imagined technology or, seeing the future in an exciting way, that's not going to keep the reader with you. It might hook them initially, but it won't keep them. So my next task after coming up with that vision of the future was to build characters that the reader could invest in.
Well, and what I love about it also, about your book, is that your main character, Tessa, is this feminist, and she is, she's kind of no holds barred. She is looking to find just a new way of approaching things.
Yes. So Tessa Callahan is the protagonist of Mother of Invention. She is a Silicon Valley bigwig. She's a serial entrepreneur, so she's built and sold several companies, and now she's landed at the Seahorse Project, which is this biotechnology effort to change human reproduction. And in creating Tessa, the tension that I wanted to kind of create within her was being a feminist who was driven by ideas. Particularly in the beginning, Tessa believes that technology should be fully utilized to help women do things more efficiently and to save time, specifically in pregnancy and early childhood, child rearing. That's what she's focused on, is coming up with technological solutions to make that stuff easier, faster, and more efficient. And she believes it 100%. She's all in. But at the outset of the book, she's really all in theory. She does not have a child herself. She has no interest in getting pregnant or having a child. Her relationship with her husband, Peter, is fairly strained. He wants a child. She's adamantly opposed. She's recruited 3 women to undergo the first human trial of this technology. but she hasn't really, she's supporting them and encouraging them, but she herself is not doing it. So over the course of the book, the tension that I'm trying to bring in is the reality of feminist practices versus the experience of them. And I think in the end, Tessa's, without giving away spoilers, Tessa's attitude and her belief system changes as she becomes deeper into the complicated experience of applying technology to motherhood.
Well, and so for the reader, and of course we don't want to give anything away.
Yeah.
But for the readers, what do you want them to take away from Mother of Invention?
I would say there's no clear answer or theme, but I view it as a cautionary tale. I think I want the reader to take away a sense of healthy skepticism toward what we are told all the time by this culture, by the media, by exciting and often wonderful breakthroughs in reproductive technology. I want the reader to come away with some healthy skepticism toward what we're told we should do to optimize our bodies and what we feel and intuit that we want to do with our bodies.
Yeah. And really look at the bigger picture surrounding that, because there is so much out there, and it's easy to kind of get thrown in the weeds with so much that we're being bombarded with almost on a daily basis. So I feel like your book, I think that's a great takeaway, because, couldn't we use a little bit more of a kind of a level-headedness when we're looking at different approaches?
Well, there's become an enormous, I think, unspoken distrust of understanding your own female body. And, if you look at everything, and this applies to men to some degree also, but because I focus on women in the book, I'll speak to that. Everything from Fitbit trackers to ovulation discs that you put under your pillow, to often being encouraged to jump right into IVF early and trying to get pregnant. There's so many options out there. Just driving to the office today, I passed microblading to, tattoo hair on your body place, and a cryotherapy place where you can pop in and freeze your cellulite. And there are just so many options out there for modifying and allegedly improving your body that I think it's easy to dismiss or reduce the amount of credit you give yourself for being able to just take care of yourself and, not look at your body as something that needs a host of solutions.
Yeah. Or, in the case of Mother of Invention, high tech to, get involved in some pretty important areas of of women in general. Exactly.
In Mother of Invention, Tessa really sees her invention, or the company that she's a part of, has invented the solution to shortening pregnancy and easing all of the inconveniences of the early stages of raising a child. And she sees it initially as a gateway into improving dramatically the female experience and sort of women's potential to live fully in the world. And as I said, the reality of that takes a different turn. But that's her stance in the beginning.
Well, and so as you were developing your storyline and bringing this all together, I can't help but wonder if any of your experience, because you're a high-level tech recruiter in Silicon Valley, and especially with startups, how that had any influence on the writing of your book.
Absolutely. I did work as a recruiter in Silicon Valley for many years and then in New York City, and now I'm doing the same thing in Los Angeles where the tech scene is really newly booming. And I've come in contact in my recruiting work with so many female leaders. They're either executives for tech companies or they're entrepreneurs who have started their own companies. And these, how they directly informed Mother of Invention in that they are some of the most frighteningly efficient, intelligent, and just fast-moving. Their output, to me, is staggering, how they manage to juggle everything and, succeed in business, succeed in parenthood, stay in shape, tend to their partners and their friends, build social networks. And it's so impressive, but it's also exhausting. And I, in coming into contact with these successful, ambitious women who are also mothers, I just started to become very interested in time and the notion of how we're moving through it and the sort of disregard/disdain for slowing down and the way that many women of a certain ilk have structured their lives so that slowing down is virtually impossible, or they believe it is impossible. And so those ideas definitely influence the book.
Wow. Yeah, I know many, I actually have a few friends that live that kind of lifestyle where they're going 100 miles an hour. Their children are involved in everything. And, and a couple of my friends are actually pretty exhausted all the time because they're trying to meet all these needs. And there seems to be kind of a stereotype where it's like, gosh, women are expected to do this. This is part of, as a mother, what you are, what you sign up for when you have children. And it
absolutely,
yeah. I mean, and it's overwhelming.
And I think that it's unfortunate that women have come, and myself included, to where their frazzled, go, sleepless ambition as a badge of honor. My women friends and I are constantly, without even thinking about it, saying things like, this is the craziest week, I'm so frazzled, I'm exhausted, I'm so behind. There's like a permanent sense of scramble. And I think that, expressing anything counter to that, like, I don't have that much going on today. It's just something you don't say as a professional woman right now. The standard, the norm is to be hustling constantly. And I don't think that's good. Even though I am a part of it, I think we should at least have some healthy skepticism toward it.
Well, and I feel like your book is so kind of tantalizing for a lot of women because they kind of look, it's like, gosh, what if technology could be something that may empower us in a certain way? But there's also that flip side of, what could happen, what could go wrong as well.
Exactly. And don't get me wrong, so much of technology has been a great gift to working mothers. Mm-hmm. I am able to run a staffing agency and write novels and spend a decent amount of time with my children, largely because of technology, largely because of a smartphone, because I can work so flexibly on the go. Now, I would say it's a net positive, but there are also downsides. The kids go to bed and I feel like I must return emails and get back to it. I often find that my attentions are split. Yes, I'm with my 4-year-old, but I'm also frantically trying to catch up on work and squeeze it in wherever I can. So, there's always a cost, and I'm exploring in Mother of Invention the cost of technology.
Well, I enjoyed your book, and I think it's a perfect read for summer. I know we were just talking about this a little bit ago. Your book was just noted in, was it the LA, remind me again, the LA book review? Is that what it was?
Yeah, it was just in the LA Review of Books. I was in conversation with some other wonderful Los Angeles-based novelists. And then it's also gotten quite a few other mentions. In the Washington Post.
Too many to list here.
Marketplace, and there's a lot that it's right. It's on my website. It keeps up with it.
Motherofinvention.net. Yeah, there's obviously a lot of discussion around it because it just brings about a lot of questions in regards to possibilities, pro and con. And so, gosh, Caeli, I'm just so glad that we were able to spend this time together and talk about your book. What final thoughts would you like to leave our listeners with today?
Well, I would like to leave your listeners, how about this? I'd like them to consider the time that they have and how they're using it and how they might want to slow down a little bit and maybe consider occasionally removing technology, as much as a cliche as that has become. I would say approach your technology and approach efficiency with some healthy caution. And just because you can do it all doesn't mean that you should.
I think that is some great advice. And, of course, everyone wants to pick up their own copy of Mother of Invention. It's a great summer read, and I highly suggest you pick it up and add it to your book club and just enjoy this book on the beach or wherever it is you're going this summer holiday. Caeli, thank you so much for taking the time to be on the show with us here today.
Marianne, it was a complete pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, Caeli. It's been such an honor to spend this time with you to talk about your writing process and, of course, your new book, Mother of Invention. Well, we're at the end of our time today. I would like to thank everyone for tuning in. You're listening to Moments with Marianne. And remember, make every moment count.
In a single moment, your life can change. Moments with Marianne is a transformative hour that covers an endless array of topics with the best of the best. Her guests are leaders in their fields, ranging from inspirational authors, top industry leaders, and business and spiritual entrepreneurs. Each guest is gifted and a true visionary. A recognized leader in her own work, and while teaching others to develop, refocus, and grow, Marianne will bring the best guest and sometimes a special surprise. Don't miss this. You never know just which moment will change your life forever. Moments with Marianne airs every Thursday, Friday, and Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Mountain Time. Make sure to tune in and visit momentswithmarianne.com for more information.